Dogs are an important part of our lives. That means protecting them from parasites. Ask your vet about NexGard Plus, afoxolaner, moxidectin, and pyrantel chewable tablets. NexGard Plus chews provide one-and-done monthly protection against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms. Plus, they're delicious and easy to give. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask about NexGard Plus chews.
Texting between two different kinds of phones makes photos blurry, ugly, and security risky. Not just that, it also makes video calling, editing messages, or leaving a group nearly impossible. With WhatsApp, everyone can enjoy seamless messaging with the protection of end-to-end encryption. Streamline your messages across all devices on WhatsApp. Message privately with anyone you want. Click the banner or download now to learn more.
If your small business is booming and ready to expand, you might say something like,
"It's happening!"
Booyah!
Yeah!
Crushed it.
But if you need someone who can actually help protect your growing business, just say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And just like that, your State Farm agent can help you get the coverage you need for your new space. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back once again to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I'm Ryan Ward, and what a performance by Anthony Davis. My God, as if D'Lo didn't, put us all on notice with 44. AD comes and just destroys Minnesota, and the fact that they don't have Towns or Gobert in the paint yesterday. That was incredible. I mean, to be honest, while watching the game, I wasn't really all that impressed by what AD was doing. But he was going 1-on-3 with these guys. Like Naz Reid was doing everything he could to keep in front of AD and contain him. Naz Reid played great. That's one guy I think the Lakers really whiffed on in terms of bringing him in, because I heard behind the scenes that Naz Reid wanted to come out to LA, and he was in the running, right? But it looks like Minnesota knew that, and they wrapped him up really quick. I think he was one of the first free agent signings this past summer. But anyhow, he couldn't keep up with AD. I mean, AD could barely get off the ground yesterday. I think he just struggled. His lift just wasn't there. I think he played somewhat exhausted, which makes this performance that much more impressive. The guy had 27 points, 25 rebounds, 7 steals, which is a career high. Those other two or 25 rebounds was a season high, I believe. 5 assists and 3 blocks. I mean, he was 2 blocks away from 5, or the 5x5 that Victor Wembanyama got against the Lakers not too long ago. He's the first player in NBA history with this stat line, or at least the first since steals became a stat that they tracked. I think it was 73, 74, something like that, which is kind of incredible, especially with how people put up points and fill up the stat sheets these days. But he couldn't have done it at a better time. Turned 31 today. Great birthday present, and now he's got today, tomorrow to rest before getting on the bus or the flight to Sacramento and taking on the Kings for a second time, and hopefully getting some revenge for that last debacle against Sacktown. But an impressive performance all around. And then LeBron did what LeBron does: 29, 9 assists, and 8 boards. Rui played well, 15 points. Reaves had the highlight of the year for him, at least, with a crazy series of dribbling against what was his name, Jordan McLaughlin, something like that. So I never even heard of this guy before, but Reaves made him look pretty stupid out there. He finished with 19, 6 boards, 4 assists. D'Lo had kind of an off night, but it didn't really matter. 13 points, 5 for 12 from the floor, 6 assists, 3 boards. And now the Lakers have a record of 36-30. Still in the ninth spot, so it's not like they're jumping up there. But this is kind of remarkable. This is the first time that the Lakers have been over or 6 games over 500 since Darvin Ham took over as head coach. Kind of crazy when you think about it, especially considering they went all the way to the West Finals last year with Ham leading the charge. But that's where they're at. And like I said, this was a big game. It was a big game against Milwaukee. It's a big game against the Clips. They're beating the best teams out there. Which, it's makes you feel a little indifferent because, and then they lose to Sacramento, and they have Wizards force them to overtime, and the Wizards just got eliminated from playoff contention, believe it or not, which is crazy. But 6th seed is not out of reach. It isn't. It's hard to jump up, obviously, because all the other teams kind of have to fall back or struggle. But it's still there. It's still in reach. If they keep beating teams like this, they're only a game back from Dallas. That's kind of crazy when you think about it now. But Dallas has won 2 straight. So it's they're not playing great. I think somebody came out with some stats saying how bad defensively Dallas is right now, and it's like a historic level. But the Lakers could pass them, and the Lakers could pass Sacramento. They're only a game and a half back Sacramento. They're only 2 games back from Phoenix for the 6th spot. So this, just got to keep winning, man. Got to keep the foot on the gas pedal. You got to keep getting performances like this. You think about it, AD was banged up. He couldn't even use his left arm. I hope you guys don't hear the dogs in the background. They just, anybody walks by the window, oh my God, stop everything. Let's just bark for the next 5 minutes straight. Anyway, it's okay. I'm not losing my sanity or anything. God, where was I? Thanks, guys. Thanks, boys. Anyway, Phoenix is within reach. It was AD with the shoulder. Like, he couldn't even use it. Like, he was trying to figure out ways to be effective on the floor without one of his shoulders, which is crazy when he bounces back and has a game like this, which is going to go down as one of his best games ever. 7 steals. That's incredible. Some guards, great defensive guards, go through their whole career without getting that, and he's got it. Not to mention, he still blocks 3 shots and grabs 25 rebounds, which is just insane. Which is, it's just kind of sad that the Lakers are only at 36 wins at this point in the season, with AD having such a great year, and LeBron having a good year, and it's just like, why? If they're they're putting up numbers consistently, playing well consistently, and they've been able to stay healthy, and they're still in the 9th spot in the West. Without the play-in tournament, they're out of the playoffs right now, right? They're still a game back from Dallas, and that'll probably more than likely change, but still, that's obviously not great. And if LeBron had it his way, we wouldn't have a play-in tournament. I favor this. I think this is kind of cool, actually. Just give it a little bit more intrigue at the end of the season without half the teams, just giving up. But play-in tournament is shaping up to be pretty competitive. Because all the teams in the play-in tournament right now, Kings, Dallas, LA, Golden State, they're all kind of hitting a groove, even though Dallas is shaky. They're all around the same, though. Like, the last 10 games, 6-4 for 3 teams: Sacktown, Los Angeles, and Golden State. While Dallas is at 5-5. So they're all around the same, and even Phoenix is 5-5. So it's going to get interesting in this final stretch here. But you got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. They're supposed to beat Sacramento. Even though some people would think that they might be a little bit better. I think they should beat them. And then what you got? Got going to Milwaukee again, I believe. No. Okay, so you got a few more games before that. Then Golden State. I don't know if Steph is back yet, but if he's not, you definitely got to take advantage of that. Atlanta, that should be a layup. Philly, I mean, they still don't have Embiid. Pacers are a good team, but they're beatable, as you saw in the in-season tournament. And the Bucks are beatable as well. I mean, but these are winnable games. They're winnable games. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight winnable games. I mean, I would concede that the Bucks are going to win in Milwaukee, but obviously the Lakers have proven they can beat them. So you can't write that off as a loss right away. And then at the end, you got somewhat tough stretch. Cleveland, Minnesota, Golden State again, Grizzlies, and Pelicans both on the road to finish. But then again, Grizzlies, they're not going to care. They're going to be all about draft position. New Orleans probably just wants to stay healthy going into the playoffs. Golden State probably the same, unless they're positioning just to stay into the play-in game or improve their matchup in the play-in tournament, which I think happened last year. But yeah, I think I'm intrigued again. Once again, this reminds me actually. I don't know if you guys saw today, but there was some spelling errors on the Kobe Bryant trophy or statue outside of crypto. That blows me away, man. Like, how many people did they have to go through to get this thing approved for one? How many times was it checked over, for accuracy and, just to make sure there was nothing wrong? And there's multiple spelling errors. I think it's on the box score because they literally took the box score from that night, 81 points, and put it on.
How about Captain Crunch's Crunch Berries with breakfast?
Whoa, Dad, we're on
Crunch Island. He's Jean Lefoot.
And he stole our crunch.
Quick, the zip line.
He's getting away.
Throw our last crunch berry.
No!
No one steals my crunch berries.
I think you mean my crunch berries. Choose your own crunch venture with Cap'n Crunch.
The statue somewhere. I haven't seen the statue in person yet, but in the pictures I saw, and they spelled Jose Calderon's name wrong. They spelled Von Wafer's name wrong, and coach's decision. They spelled decision wrong. I'm like, oh my God. All you had to do was copy one over to the next. Now, if the box score, these are the box scores that we get handed at games. After the end of each quarter, we get handed a sheet, and then halftime we get handed a sheet, and at the end of the game we get handed a sheet. Just kind of so we can keep up with the stats as quickly as possible. It helps, but sometimes most of the time you just you're tossing them. But obviously that was a historic one, and people held on to it. So unless those mistakes were actually on the box score, and then they just transferred over without thinking, then somewhat give them a pass here. But at the same time, how the hell do you misplace or misspell decision, especially when right above it? Because I think there's two players. There was a coach's decision not to play, DNPs, and one is spelled correctly and the other one's not, but one's directly below the other one. I'm like, oh my God, you did not check this stuff over? And then on top of that, how many fans have seen this statue since it has been unveiled? I mean, we're talking probably tens of thousands of people, right? And only just now people have seen these mistakes. Does that mean they're just not reading it or what? I mean, especially this day and age. this kind of stuff gets caught right away, usually. But man, what a bad look for the Lakers. I mean, I still think the statue's amazing. I thought that was it's the one I picked, him, pointing me to the air. And I at the time, I only knew there's only going to be one statue. So I thought, put 8 on the front, 24 on the back, and you're done. Cool. Awesome statue, iconic. It'll be there forever. But the way it turned out was still awesome. And he's got 2 more to go. One with Gigi. And the other one I think is dedicated to his career in 24. But dude, that's a pretty gnarly mistake, and it's doing the rounds on social media right now, and not a good look. Not a good look for sure. Man, it's just funny that the kind of mistakes that get literally graved in stone. Hopefully the other 2 are, after this, I'm sure the other 2 are going to get looked over with a fine-tooth comb about 50, 60, 100 times just to make sure they don't get embarrassed like this. But that's a pretty big mistake. I just can't believe how long it took to get caught. Maybe people thought they saw it, a mistake earlier, and then they're just like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to look stupid or something. But whoever did it and threw it out there, they were just like, yep, mistake. And it's pretty obvious. Anyway, I had to comment on that because that's just wow. Just wow. But for the state of the Lakers right now, I think they're in a good spot. And you come out on top in Sacramento on Wednesday, and it's just all trending up. All trending up. But then again, these are the kind of games that the Lakers lose. The Lakers lose these games against the Kings, the Warriors, and the Hawks, and games that you think should be easy and already looking on to the next game are the ones that they really struggled. They are truly Jekyll and Hyde, and they play down to all their competition almost nightly. But it was impressive watching what they did against Minnesota last night. I thought, Minnesota wasn't as good as I expected them to be. Ant-Man didn't really do a lot. He had a couple shots where you're just like, wow. But he didn't take over the game like I thought he would. They clearly missed Towns and Gobert, or at least one of them in the paint, because Towns floats outside on the perimeter anyway. But yeah, it was not Naz Reid though. What a stud! That guy's a bona fide stud. If the Lakers got him, I would think they'd be looking pretty different right now. They wouldn't be in this position, I don't think. I don't know how much he moves the needle, maybe 5 games. But he is a stud. He's a stud. And I think the Lakers are probably pretty damn disappointed when they couldn't sign him. In other news, the NFL free agency, wow. I know this is totally off topic, but man, I thought the NBA was crazy once, they sound the horn to start making moves, but geez, I've never seen so many moves consecutively in the NFL, probably ever. Just crazy. But this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. But an Achilles injury. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, and I think halfway through the season, and his season was over. Obviously, it wasn't like Aaron Rodgers was saying he was going to come back and never came back. But it's becoming like a common injury. I think even somebody in the Super Bowl did it, like in a freak move, like running from the sideline into the game. I think it was some defensive player on the 49ers. I can't remember his name. But it's becoming a common injury, and it's becoming common to recover from it and get back on the field and still have a career. But today blew me away because Kirk Cousins is 35 years old. He's never been elite, but I say he's been in the very good category for quarterbacks. And he, burst Achilles. You don't know what you're going to get from this guy coming back. He signs a 4-year deal at 35 years old, coming off an Achilles injury with the Falcons. That blew me away. And then I think it was like for 180 million or something. I was like, oh my God, with 100 million guaranteed for a guy you don't even know can do anything, with his coming off the Achilles. It's just crazy to me. I mean, it's good. It's good. I hope it keeps trending in this direction where, I mean, I think this happened at one point with torn ACLs in the NBA and the NFL, obviously, where at one point, a torn ACL was like a career ender in the NBA and NFL. They just kind of wrote you off. Well, that knee's never going to be the same. And now it's like a regular occurrence. I mean, I would say, a good chunk of players in both leagues have torn their ACL or meniscus or whatever, and then just bounce back. It's just a common, the surgeries. Maybe obviously the technology and the medical field has advanced so much to where that is not a serious, career-threatening thing anymore. And I think Achilles is kind of trending in that direction. I mean, I remember when Kobe did it, and we were all devastated for obvious reasons because we thought it was like a kind of like, for lack of a better word, a death sentence for an athlete, right? Like you're done. Your playing days are done. But that's just no longer the case. You got Kirk Cousins, you got Aaron Rodgers, both franchise quarterbacks. They're still getting treated that way after this injury, which is wild to me. I mean, bravo to the medical field for making strides like this. But this is just kind of crazy. I thought I just had to mention it because it just happened like an hour ago, half hour ago. And I was like, whoa. I thought at the very at the most he would get a 1-year deal. That's it. And maybe like an option for another year or whatever. But 4 years at 35, they're counting on this guy on a repaired or a ruptured Achilles for 4 years at 35 years old. That's wild. But hey, good for him because he's going to a great opportunity. He's got some weapons there already with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. So he's set up. As long as they can protect him and as long as he can still move the way, he was able to move before. Not saying he was lightning quick, but anyway, back to the Lakers. Let's just keep this positivity going. Let's keep it going because I think this team could make some noise now. I mean, I'm not as confident in like a 7-game series once the playoffs get started, but if they can get to the 6th seed, man, or like, just make it interesting from here on out, I'm all for it. Because when they play inspired basketball, it's fun to watch. But so the next game is Wednesday in Sacktown. It's one of their few games on the road for the rest of the way here. How many road games they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they got 9. I guess that's a bit more than I thought. The long stretcher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-game road trip after they play the Pacers on the 24th of this month. So that'll put them to the test. That'll be the last long road trip. And then they end with a small road trip to Memphis and New Orleans, which obviously at that point, things are more than usually locked in, or, a game here or there determines, a seeding or whatever. But as of right now, optimistic, and hopefully AD keeps playing out of his mind, D'Lo playing out of his mind, even though he had a little hiccup here, and LeBron being as consistent as ever. Until next time, peace.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel. And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.